Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Time to go over our other steps in painting on our robot. Oh, that's not good. Let's see one there. Oh, there we go. I punched it in. I just didn't hit the update button. There we go. All right. So we're going to go over the painting of the base, the cloak, and really any other elements that I might have missed. Which I think, the metal parts, I'm going to show how to get our paint to stick to the metal, at least the way I've figured it out. The robot itself is pretty much painted. There's still some more work to do, small stuff, but we did quite a few homework sessions getting it to look the way it is now. Now the base. So the kind of theme I'm choosing is like a kind of like a red rocks, deserty rock type of look. Raise the chat a little, almost covers your head. Like it can't, because I go over it. I'm a layer higher than my chat. Yes, I exist on a whole nother dimension. The chat is under me. All right, let's see here. Kind of like this style is what we're going to be going for here. Kind of like this orangey, browny, red rocks type of look. This one's actually pretty good here. Sometimes the illustrated or digital versions will help you see the colors that you need to do better. So when I look at this, I see like a very orangey brown, but not super high pigmented orange. On this previous one, it's more definitely a brighter orange. But you can see we start with like this kind of color down here. See this color, this darker orangey brown. And then we can work our way up with dry brushing. Oh, hey, Armor. We'll catch you later. So we'll see ya. Okay, so I have some larger brushes. We'll be painting such a large area here. We're gonna approach this a little bit different. I got some bigger brushes. Probably gonna use this one. And I also have a larger painting palette here. One of these guys. And I also have larger paints that we can use that won't absorb up all of our Reaper paints. I think this is good for you to experiment with, especially when you're painting very large things. You don't want to use your tiny little Reaper bottle and recently cleaned palette. Oh yes, extremely recently cleaned. Actually, I think me and Emma used this on her diorama just recently. But yeah, we're going to use actual different paints to cover this base because it's such a large area. We don't want to just consume all of our Reaper orange browns trying to get it covered. So we're going to do a little bit of paint mixing here. Very good. A little bit more cleaned. More clean than before. All right, let's get into it. Let's mix some color. So you can go to any hobby store and usually find these like larger kind of tubs of paint. I'll typically always get black and white. This is Creatix brand paint. But there's also other brands like Folk Art, which is usually very inexpensive and does pretty decent for considering the cost. So there's another Folk Art brown. Creatix is liquidy like Reaper. Folk Art is a little bit more thick. Let's see here. And get our filter set up. Okay, so this is a little technique for making a decent brown I learned about, or we take fluorescent orange, or really any orange, and if you don't have orange, you mix red and yellow to make orange. Starting with a good orange, and we can really easily go into the area of brown by adding black. So let's start with some orange. I wonder if I need to mix this probably. Give this a good shake in here. And we're gonna create a base color. Some pretty good coffee. Is fluorescent best? Is fluorescent best? I don't know. I don't know if it's the best, but it's the way I'm gonna do it. Get to work there, Clayton. This is the way I actually, a long time ago, Levita, I used to use, I used to not have pre-mixed colors, and I used to mix all my own colors. And, this became very quickly the, any orange, yeah. The only reason I'm choosing this one is because it's a really strong, it's like the brightest orange you could possibly get, right? Because of the fluorescent nature. Because here's the thing, to get a vibrant, bright color, you can't mix that, because when you add white and black to things, it desaturates it. So when you pick a color to use for mixing, you want to pick really vibrant, like where the color is really intense, to use for mixing, because you can only kind of go down from there, essentially. You know, like here's an orange by them, which would work for a lot of orange uses, but let's say I need a really bright fluorescent orange, I couldn't mix this into that by adding white, you know, it wouldn't work. So we're gonna start with a big pile of fluorescent, and I mean, this camera doesn't even show it terribly well. I wonder if this one does. Not even this one can show the true vibrancy of this orange. Even looks different. So right now in real life, the bottle looks the same as what's on the palette here, but on the camera it doesn't. So weird. I also think it's fluorescent, so it actually It glows with UV light. You can see that radioactive paint. But we're not using it. We're using it because it's a bright orange. We're not using it for the UV light ability. Let's just do like let's just start with a drop or 2 or 3 of black. Just kind of see where this takes us. Black can be quite strong, so see that right there is very close already to that color. That's what I do when I mix. I kind of just mix until I see that color. And then just know I need to add more black. Let me mix a little bit more orange, see where we're at here. I could see like a drip of white maybe. To kind of knock back the vibrancy. That was 4 drips of white. Yeah, the white's pretty strong. Okay, that white is very strong. So let's mix it all in now, and then we'll re-add our black. That's definitely something when you start mixing paints, like becoming familiar with which colors of yours are stronger than others. Just being more careful. For rocks, can you leave some streaks in the mixed paint? Technically, yeah, it wouldn't matter. Okay, I have 5 drops of black. You are the strongest of the paints, huh? We shall see about that. Okay, so now because I overmixed white, the vibrancy is a little bit duller than I'd like it to be. So I'm gonna add some more orange back into it. Orange it back up. Ah, just not right now. Got it. You are, just not right now. Maybe later. You know, I'd say this is a good medium color to what we're going for. You know, it doesn't really have to be perfect, because really the ultimate result is the layers on top. So let's just use this. So this is pretty thin already. I'm not sure if I'm gonna thin this out. I'm gonna remove our robot. We'll set him down. Ooh. Okay. Now we'll give it a nice, thorough base coating. I guess the only I'm glad I didn't thin it, because the only downside is doesn't quite cover completely, but that's okay. Even it not covering completely can work to your advantage within the layering process by having these transparent layers. So I'm applying the paint and I'm just kind of going back over areas that you added it just to make sure it's not pooling up or thick in any of those areas. Yeah, I think it's a good color for what we're trying to go for here. The brush nice swirl, make sure it gets into all those little nooks and crannies. Isn't removable. Should you? Well, let's see. Okay, so here's the difficulty. If you paint the base first, you're most likely going to do a little bit of wear and tear on your paint job from handling the base while you paint the character, if that makes sense. So think in terms of like, where am I going to be holding? What's a comfortable place to hold my... And if the answer is the base, then I would wait to paint the base until the character's mostly painted. Doesn't have to be totally painted, but mostly painted. And then you can start painting the base once you feel pretty that the character itself is sufficiently painted. Yeah, you just carefully do, just like you edge anything else, you know? Just like the line between the cloth or the, you know, any of the parts really. It's the nice part about the detachable character, though. Really, any detachable piece becomes very convenient for the painting. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you know, that's definitely one part of this project I would have changed. I also think it's important for you guys to experience that firsthand. This happens often in my work where you have a thought or idea of something to use, and you go to execute, and it pans out differently than you expected. Usually from a slight oversight of some sort. But then you think of it in hindsight for next time, kind of thing. You know, put it in the back of your mind. So I had wanted to use that metal rod because it's sturdy and it already has the shape that we're looking for, which is that kind of cylinder, really skinny cylinder limb part. But what I underestimated was how difficult it would be to bend even semi-thick metal like that. But it does provide a really, really sturdy base that has been like an absolute joy to work on after getting through that initial bending step. So it's like a pros and cons kind of thing. I could definitely see using that stuff for something really large that maybe needs to stand on one foot. Yeah. It's a bit the thickness was, I was thinking the visual thick, like what did I want it to look like, not necessarily for the strength of it. That's why I chose that thicker one. But I think the one we used for the arms was appropriate. My robot could support the house or something. Clayton's new tornado shelter. Hide under the robot. You are, yeah. The base is very large. This is a tall, large base. It's probably about 8 to 10 inches tall just for the base. I felt the need to go taller with this one because I really wanted to capture this, like, kind of this top of the mountain explorer type look. So I really feel like the height is needed to sell the idea. Okay, I'm gonna go right up to the edge. I'm not gonna quite do the edge yet. Not trying to paint the wood. back over everything. Using an appropriate size brush is going to be very crucial here. Can't believe we used up all that paint. So that would have been probably about a tub worth of Reaper paint. So definitely recommend using something. Oh yeah, no, I didn't take it as a critique. How dare you mock the size of my work? What do you know, anyways? Banned. Remove him from my presence. I will not stand for this. Alright, that's a good healthy base coat, I think. This bottom edge we're not going to worry too much about. We're just going to go in probably with another color that will finish that off later. But I won't do that until probably after the staining happens on the wood. Hello, Rain. Hello. Okay, so we'll let that base coat set up, and while that sets up, we're going to switch over to our robot and go over the... we'll start the next part on this here. Put that in the water. Let me grab this. Give him a good leaning post. Ah, yes. Very good. Okay. So the cloak question is the color. This is a very important color choice. So what I like to do is I like to almost imagine. So pick a color. I'm thinking like a light blue color. And just imagine, like almost like with your brain, imagine what it would look like with all these other colors going on here. Whatever you want to use for the base there, Lavita. You could add folk arts are pretty cheap. So, I mean, that's all I've used today is black, white, and orange so far. So, maybe if you want to wait to see. But, I mean, the next layers are just going to be me adding kind of more of those colors, really. So, maybe brown. You know, this is a pre-mixed brown. Which, I mean, you can make by mixing orange with... you can make brown now mixing orange with black. Gray is blue. I mean, it already is kind of grayish blue, so we can definitely have an easier time imagining that. Let's see here. So this is a point in time when I'm going to go browse our reference board and see if we get any ideas. You know, this guy's got a cloak. But you could see what makes it a good cloak. So on this one, what makes this cloak look really nice is we have it's such a dirty kind of faded color right next to these really vibrant colors, you know, nice and clean colors. So really it's just this opportunity for contrast going on here, you know, and that's what we have to think about here. This guy's got a blue one. See, the blue contrasts the color of the robot itself, so it just really sticks out. It goes well together. I don't think red This guy has a cloak. This cloak kind of blends in a little bit more, doesn't it? A little bit more in tune with the overall character. We don't want to do orange because our base is orange. Definitely leaning more towards faded color. I don't know. You can do that. Yeah, you can do that. I'm more of like a let's make a decision and jump right in and see what happens type of person. But yes, using software to add the color is a smart idea. Nice little tannish color. Not too shabby. What's this one? A little bit more blended in. Seafoam green. Well, we already have a green color. Well, I mean, I guess something that kind of goes with the robot's like base color. You're a little bit more timid to color. I get very radical color choices, and a lot of my radical decisions end up working out pretty good actually. Some of them not so much, but look at this, like a paler white color. Again, it looks good because of the darker body plus the orange, but we kind of get a darker body on our guy too. So definitely something more on the light side, palish, lightish side. Yeah, I don't know. I keep thinking like that light blue. It's usually the first thought that comes to mind too. So let's just do it. We can always change it if we don't like it. Let me grab let me see if I have one already here. I have this Surf Aqua, but I'm gonna be a little bit too intense. Oh, we also have Ice Devil Blue. Minty green. Ice Devil Blue. I think maybe we'll do this Ice Devil Blue color. Yes, because it sounds cool. That's right. That's why I actually only choose. I don't even look at the colors. I only choose. I'm actually colorblind. I just choose my colors based on the names on the bottles. That's always been my strategy. Oh, like I know what you're talking about. Like a striped colors, which we can do. And usually, I think it's best you start with one color, and then we could decide to add more color if we wanted to at that point. That would be not a bad idea. Kind of like a striped cape. Logo on the cape. I do think we're going to tone this blue down a little bit though, more of like a grayish color. So maybe we'll start with I'm gonna use this brush here. Ah. Or maybe we do a gray color, then we add some surf aqua. So let's start with like a... Let's start with some white. Let's do a drop. 1, 2 of black. Let's see where we're at here. A little bit more black. 2 more drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is the new 2. Sometimes you just gotta go by feeling. You can't really be too crazy about it. Ah, yeah, perfect. Okay, now let's add some of this surf aqua color. It's probably gonna be pretty strong. It's actually not too strong. A little bit more. That kind of eats it up a little bit more. Just drizzle it down there. The matte finish of folk art, kind of like that chalky finish it has. Yeah, I mean, it could look really good for a rock, I would say. All right, now we're getting into the realm of like a grayish blue color here. A little bit more. There we go, that's a good base color. There we go, we'll evenly distribute so we have our highlight shadow color. All right. That's perfect. So even though these patches are going to be a different color, I'll just still base coat over them, just to create an. I always like to create an overlap with the paint. No reason to be, super careful right now. We will be careful though as we get closer to the robot. Actually, you know what? Let's take the backpack off. There we go. Make it a lot easier. I like it. I like the color. I think it'll look really good with the orange, see? Those three colors. All right, now the underside. That's gonna be the hard part. Well, there's also a keyboard on his back, a little control panel back there, so you have to imagine, I guess there's some sort of other character intervention. Perhaps that's why there's so many patched spots on his cape. Okay, I'll switch to a smaller brush since we're getting a little bit closer here. Closer to our edges. This one should be good. Oh. Well, this is part of a class. You can actually go back and watch the entire creation of this start to finish in a very informative, step-by-step manner. Oh, that's right. Is that happening right now? The YouTube crowd does that, the big bot bash. That's right. These are not. This stream is not for entertainment purposes. You are to not be entertained. Excuse me, sorry. All right, almost done here. Just want to be very carefully moving around our edge here. Got a lovely amount of hard to reach spots. Yeah, just don't water it down too much. Be very, like when I add water, I do it by the brushful. You know, you dip it in the water and then dip, 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 until you get the right consistency. Testing it along the way. It's always a bummer to overdo the thinning out of a color. It's not easy to go back. Very good, very good. Okay. So, now let's switch back to our base. Let's try. Oops. Swap our palette back out here. Pull up my base reference colors here. This is actually made from clay. This is made from two types of clay. We got a polymer clay on the top and then foam coated with epoxy clay here. Hard as a rock. And then we got this really nice wood on the bottom. Can't remember the type of what it's called. I think it's like it's a special kind of maple that has this crazy wood grain on it. But anyways, all right. so now we are going to do, let's see, we could do a dry brush first and then a wash and then another dry brush. Or what I see in the reference is that kind of like the layers, some layers are brighter and some are darker. Let's take a look. So I think we'll do that. So this is a very layered project. We're going to mix up this orange color, but we're going to create a darker version of it and a lighter version of it. And we're going to kind of try to work in some different variations of the base color. So first let's start with some orange here. And
listen closely, traveler, to what I say.
Mishka.
Twitch Prime does not even cost a dime.
Thank you very much, Mishka. Thank you for your support. I appreciate that. I appreciate it very much. Welcome to the cnotbusch kingdom. So, yeah, you can. XPS foam is really good for, pink foam for doing bases. I'll usually cover the foam with a few different things. One is epoxy clay and do a sculpted finish like this, or a material called Sculptamold if I want it to look like a dirt or something. It's usually the typical way I go about it. Let's add some black here. Might be a little bit too much. All right, not too bad actually. Say makes a really nice brown black with orange. It's so I have different versions of it, but it's a two-part clay you mix together, and then you're able to. It's very sticky at the beginning. You add it to the foam, and then you can sculpt on it, and you're just doing a thin layer of it on top of the foam, letting the foam kind of be like a bulking material. There's a lot of creators and people out there that use XPS foam, and the finished layer is made from the foam. I've done it before too. I'm just not too big of a fan of it because it's not really. Oh,
listen closely, traveler, to what I say. Twitch Prime does not even cost a dime.
wow, excuse me. One second. All right, thank you so much there, Tina Bell. I appreciate that. Thank you very kindly. Yes, I'm a beta tester for the new epoxy clay. This is a new type of epoxy clay. It's coming out, made by the maker of Cos Clay. It's really nice. I very much enjoy using it, and it's nice to know that it's got way less toxicity than most epoxy clays. Tina rhymes with Tinny. Oh, Tinny Bell. Okay, sorry. Oh my goodness, some dyslexia there for you. I actually have the next round of the beta sample. I have to crack open and try. Yeah, Arnold's got me hooked up here. Okay, let's see. Let's go back over to here. I want to keep this rich, so I'm not going to add any white. So let's just do a few more drops of orange back in. Yeah, so that's a clay that's going to be coming out soon. That's an epoxy clay. I still will always, in sculpting situations, I will always prefer a polymer clay. But there's certain situations that you can't use polymer clay. For example, using XPS foam. You cannot bake that. So once you use foam, you can no longer bake the project, so you have to use other materials that require no baking. So all right, this is a good base color here, I think. So now we're gonna take this. Guess we'll just work it with this brush here. I'm just gonna pick out some layers. Maybe these layers with the cracks will be more of like this darker color. Yeah, that'll be good. I'll do this a lot with like organic nature bases where you just have a slight variation in the starting color throughout the piece. So before we do any of the layering, we just kind of create some variation in the base. Compared to other on a 10 scale, it's extremely comparable. There's some aspects of it that I really like more than it seems like it's actually easier to work with. Because here's the thing, I don't like working with epoxy clay. I really don't. I prefer polymer clay. But there's always situations where I must work with epoxy clay, and I do like it much better for those situations. There's there's a few little aspects that are a little bit different. Like, for example, it's less sticky, which can be nice in some situations, but other situations you kind of almost want the clay to be a bit sticky so it can really adhere to things like foam and stuff. I'm gonna downgrade my brush here. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Just like if you're used to any epoxy glue, it's basically the same. You just kind of, you mix the clay, you sculpt with it, and then in about an hour and a half, it will harden. Is the general cure time. He is, yeah. Seriously, a real life Willy Wonka, a bit of clay. Not even a chemist. That's such a common story, though. I've run into that so many times where it's people that are like kind of lifted up by their own bootstraps type folk that are the real ones out there, kind of coming out with the like next level stuff. Okay. I use medium firm and extra firm are the two that I mostly use. Trying to pick out these layers. We might even add some smaller layers kind of in the bigger surfaces. This is not a wash now. It's thicker paint, but it's not really the paint. This paint doesn't cover super well, so it's kind of acting a little bit like a wash. It's just crappy paint. Good enough to do the job, though. I use Reaper paints, yeah. They stopped doing their like affiliate program a while back, but I still love and use them, and will recommend anybody to get them for sure. Good quality stuff. Just using this darker color to go across our bottom here. I know I said I'd wait to do this, but we got the color here, might as well use it. Hey, sounds good there, blood. Yeah, no worries. I'll take all you got. What do you need? How can I help you, Rain? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she's the one who actually developed the Reaper colors. She's not only great at painting, but she mixed the colors herself. A wonderful lady indeed. Let's see. Do you think it will be better to learn anatomy by sculpting with clay or on paper? Well, are you trying to learn anatomy so you can sculpt anatomy? Or are you trying to learn anatomy to become like a doctor? What's your purpose for the knowledge of the anatomy? Oh, I see. Okay. I mean, I usually recommend, and I think it's easier to learn, because if you're trying to learn how to draw anatomy, then you need to learn by drawing anatomy. If that makes sense. I think sculpting it can give you more of an understanding, because I will tell you, a lot of things, learning it isn't fully learning how it looks or how to do it, but learning, like, understanding how it works and stuff will help you really grasp. There was a big shift for me mentally when I, let's say I had an image of somebody with clothing wrinkles on their pants and their legs are in a certain position. I would look at this reference and I would basically grasp what's happening and apply it to my work. But anytime I had a character that the pose was different than the reference I could find, I was always lost, because I relied so heavily on the reference, and it caused me to need to develop an understanding of why do the wrinkles happen certain ways, why does the clothing look a certain way? What is like this overarching rules over clothing wrinkles? And that's the, once that clicks, then now once you kind of hone into that and you start understanding it, then you can start just inventing it. Then you can just invent it without needing an exact reference of it, So when I was learning to sculpt anatomy, and obviously you're never done learning, you're always still learning, but I'm looking at, like, you need to condense what anatomy is down to its most simple form, essentially. So muscles are just rubber bands. They go from point A to point B. They usually connect from one point to the other. And when the rubber band is contracted, it's, more plump, and the arm is, or whatever it's connected to, is pulled, right? And when it's open, it's loose and skinnier, and so then it's like, okay, well, where is the point A and point B of this muscle, or this one, or that one? And then you start really understanding that you have so many thoughts of how things go together that are incorrect, that you have to basically unlearn those things and really look at what you're seeing and really draw and understand what you're seeing. So, like, for example, like realizing that that like the shoulder muscle goes like halfway down the arm, you know, where the arm, where the bicep area is, like the point where it connects isn't until all the way down here. Or that like the forearm muscle doesn't just stop at the elbow, but it actually extends all the way up into the upper arm region, you know? So like you'll start to realize that you have these built-in like understandings of things that just aren't true because you never, it's not based off of actual anatomy. Let me pull up a reference board so you can see. And you just kind of slowly accumulate these. You get into this investigative mindset of like really analyzing things. I like stuff like, here's a really great example, actually. Hold on. Unlearning these like misconceptions, like, let's see here. Here's a great one. See, like, here's the point A and here's the point B. See? Most people think the pectoral muscle goes into like the armpit or up where the shoulder is, but really it rides the sternum and goes down to the rib cage. There's the first connection, and then the second connection is like partially into the arm, almost halfway down the arm bone. See? So like these little adjustments in your anatomy understanding will help you to really make things look how they should, So, let's see here. Let's go back. I really like these kinds of references that really help you understand what's happening shape-wise too, where you're not just looking at photos of muscly people, but like these kind of breakdowns will help you more than here's a great example of how can we take a shape of an object and simplify it, into this fish hook with a Y, So now I know what an ear is. It's just a fish hook with a Y. These are the kinds of like things that are super helpful to like distill complex shapes down into their simplest form, and it just makes it so much easier to do. I think this one is good too. I saw this one, which is interesting. Like that the knuckles aren't all the same base shape. That they're actually all different. Or that, like right here, that these are all common misconceptions that the hand has a curve to it, that it's not just flat up at the top, This is the normal, what we all think, and this is actual reality. But like really realizing that and honing into that. I think I had a good one for feets. Foots. Yeah, I thought I had a good one for foot. Maybe it's not here. You get the idea. Hopefully that helps. That's right. Yeah, there are books out there. One is called Anatomy for Sculptors. That I definitely recommend. I could see that being very beneficial for drawing, but yeah. Simple forms. It's like in conjunction, simple forms and muscles. It starts with the bones though, learning the skeletal structure. what are the bony forms that you normally see on a fully fleshed human? There's a lot of bones you just don't see, but there's certain ones that you do that are very prominent. So the human body is very complex, so you just kind of start drawing the human body, whether it's in character form or project form. And then as you're working on each section of the drawing, use a reference and observe what's happening and try to understand it. And trust me, it's a little bit of a struggle, but you're going to start picking out these little nuances, and start applying it, and almost like upgrading your work each time you kind of go through these motions. You can sit there with a book and read about something and study it, but it's not going to really fully click. You're not going to remember it until you actually apply it, actually put it down on your work. So I think the best thing to do is to try to create things and then back up your work as you go with reference, and just be patient with yourself and embrace the struggle of it all, and you will improve. Be okay being bad at the thing. A lot of people, society makes us feel like we can't be bad at stuff, when really it's the first step to being good at anything is to be bad first. So just be okay being bad at it, and start from that student mentality. You're not trying to create good results, you're trying to learn, right? Who cares what the results are? Well, actually, with usually that's the case. The average viewer can't tell when things are off, but with the human body and faces, it's different. Every human is an expert at knowing what humans look like. So I think that's why it's usually one of the hardest things to do, because even the most simple of a critic is gonna know how a human face and body looks, because we spend a lot of time observing human faces and bodies. So every viewer is kind of an expert at how those things look. Okay, we're gonna have to continue our painting on this for another lesson next week. we'll get into the highlight tone. This is a lot of surface area to cover, so we're gonna need to split it up. Basically, I'm gonna do the same thing with a lighter orange color. And then once I have all these layers, then I'm going to go over with dry brushing and washing. It's already looking pretty nice, though, isn't it? Just with those two colors. Very simple. Black, white, and orange. And we're just going to create different variations and layer them on in a certain way, and it's going to create a really nice look. Okay, let's head over to Discord here. Actually, I have an event I'm going to, so I can't be late. So let's head over to Discord now and check it out. And see what anybody that's been following the class has been up to, or any of the classes. And we'll go from there. Next Sunday we will continue where we left off here, so make sure you guys tune in next Sunday if you want to see. And we're just gonna kind of just continue till we're done. Let's see here. Head on over. All right, so if you join in any of our tutorial classes over on my YouTube playlists, this robot is one of them. You can post your work here in the cnotbusch school section, and we'll check it each time I have Sunday class here. So let's check out our robots first. Finally finished the base and all the baking. I can't believe it. Let's see here. Ah, I like that old school TV. Nice. All right, battery compartment, check. I imagine that's what that is, kind of like a little battery sleeve. Awesome. Very good, Levita, very good. All right. It's exciting. So what's next for you? Lights and then paint, huh? Or are you already in the painting phase? Let's see. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah. Can't believe it. I was excited about my TV area too. This is like climbing a mountain. Okay. That's right. Think of it like a puzzle. All right, let's see. Oh, even to the TV screen. Nice. I like that a lot. Kind of like a shattered TV screen look. Cool. You did it. See, I mean, I think lights can be scary, but once you really get into it, it's really not too bad. You did great. And it really adds so much to a piece to have lighting. Oh, Patricia's starting the robot. Here we go. Oh, poor Patricia just had to deal with the bending of the metal. All right. Looks like a solid start. Definitely right in line with what we've been doing. Yeah. Very good. Very good. You did it, Patricia. Yes, in hindsight, we use thinner metal rods next time. All right, onward to our gremlin class here. Let's see what we got. Oh, hey, we got a finisher. Finally got him finished. I learned a lot from the class. Thank you, cnotbusch. Okay. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Let me see if. How do I? One moment. Let's go back to here. Okay. Wildfire. Okay. Just wanted to see who that was. Awesome. A fine gremlin joins the bunch. I have to say that's probably the most successful class, I think, is the woodland gremlin. I think we're gonna use that class as a model to create something a little bit more polished and refined, as like maybe like a same kind of idea, but more of like an edited, well shot type of deal. But same kind of character and stuff, because that's such a huge success. Yeah, really awesome. Nice work, Wildfire. You did great. All right, we got our photo shoot here. Oh, final video of the dragon class. I'm so happy with how he's turned. Okay. All right, we got some dragon class. Oh yeah, that's right. Patricia was working. Ooh, hey, the book turned out really good. That's a really nice book. Very realistic there. All right. Oh, I like the black and red, actually. Great. Fantastic. Really good job there, Patricia. Seriously. Be proud of the work you've done. I'm sure you learned a lot. No, this is made out of clay. Yeah, this is a book made out of clay. Not a real book. Awesome. Now, that was the first class you participated in, right, Patricia? Yeah, I got some glamour shots from Kelderic. He's a fine fellow indeed, yes. Awesome. Another fine lad joins the bunch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have to get going here. We're gonna having some family over. We're gonna go spend some time with some family and share a nice meal, kind of like a pre-celebration to my wife's birthday. Tomorrow is her birthday, so I will not be streaming. We'll be spending the day relaxing, getting some quality time in together. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for the support, as always, my friends. I'll be back on Tuesday. Now that we're all healthy over here, everything's good. So onwards and forwards. I'm excited to get back into the full swing of things. So we'll be jumping in on it on Tuesday. We're working on the chess set. We'll be doing more painting on this next Sunday. I'm really happy with how that's looking so far. It's exactly how I imagined. So, cool. Let's see. Let's find someone to raid. I'm gonna drop you guys off with somebody, and I'll go ahead and get out of here. Let's go rate a watercolorist. Absinthe. I don't know if we ever rated them before. All right. Get this raid locked in. All right, my friends. Till next time. Bye-bye.